Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Wow. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay, well, what are we seeing here? It's not fun. It's not fun at all. Okay, well, crypto is a real pain in the ass, isn't it? What can I say? Well, Bitcoin is still holding support, despite what people think. Like we have this trend line. I thought that because it wasn't respected the first time, it wouldn't be respected. So it hasn't really been respected. If you look at this trend line, that I have from these pivots here, it wasn't really respected when you look at it in closer observation. Let me hide my brush strokes for a second. See, it was ignored. I mean, I don't really know what this is, but it's pretty much been ignored. So I think if it wasn't ignored, if it was respected, then we would have a problem. But because it's being ignored, I'm not really paying that much attention to this trend line. Even though there is a imaginary trend line there. When you line up these pivots here, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And actually what you can see, interestingly enough, is that there's a clone. All right. And this is something that maybe some people might be missing. So let me do it for you. There. There's an imaginary clone. And you can see actually that the clone is being respected. At the moment, the clone is being respected. And also, if I zoom out a little bit to a slightly higher time frame, if see the top of these 4-hour candles here, you can see we are holding support. There is an SR flip going on right here at the moment. Now it's taking a little bit of time and it's making people a little bit nervous, but I'm getting the idea that we're holding support. There is a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern forming. I think everyone can see that. See that? But you know, these patterns, they're so obvious that they're there to be invalidated, aren't they? They're there to be invalidated. They're not there to be traded. These obvious ones. Okay. I'm not thinking we go down at the moment. I'm thinking we're holding support. It is looking quite scary for a lot of people. Because people are long and they don't want to lose value in their investments, etc. And the problem with going down is, you know, there's empty space to be filled. Look at all that space to be filled. Look at all that space. Yeah. And, you know, even though it's not much in the scale of things, I think the problem is that altcoins are, at the moment, they're bleeding in a very significant way. And I think that's, I think a lot of people are in altcoins and they're hoping, praying that Bitcoin can find its feet and show a little bit of strength and get out of this mess that Bitcoin has found itself in. I think we're holding support at the moment. It looks like we're holding support, even though on the 2-hour time frame it doesn't look like it. When I zoom out to the 4-hour time frame, I can still think we're holding support. It still looks like these candles are back testing the highs of those candles. Give me a second, I just have to do one thing. Now, one thing I've noticed is the previous all-time high is now starting to show no influence on the price anymore. It used to, and as time has passed, as this level has been washed and washed and washed and washed, if you see at the beginning of when the price hit the previous all-time high, it was respected very nicely. And now we're at a point now where it's not really respected that much. Hold on a second. Got to deal with this thing. So now, like, when you're looking at the local price action, you're looking at this and you're going, wait a minute, we're getting above the previous all-time high, we're not getting above the previous all-time high, we're getting above the previous all-time high, we're not getting above the previous all-time high. What does this mean? I think it just means that the level is becoming more and more washed as time passes and becoming more and more irrelevant as time passes. Yeah, maybe in the future it is possible that the price will go up and there will be a final back test on that level, maybe. Okay, but at the moment I wouldn't get too excited when we get above it, because at the moment, I mean, look, you see in the local time frame, it looks like there's a reaction, and sometimes it looks like there isn't a reaction. So it's quite hard to trade the previous all-time high as a level that actually corresponds with a weekly level. So I'm not getting too bearish at the moment. And unfortunately, the problem is that altcoins are bleeding. That's the problem. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of people. They're kind of in their altcoins. They're hoping that Bitcoin goes to the moon because they want their altcoins to rally, and Bitcoin is correcting. Effectively, it's correcting. The question is, what happens next? Do we go down or do we go up? And we're in a really decisive moment. Generally speaking, M's are bullish, you know, these M patterns. Yeah, you can clearly see there's a little bit of an M going on here. And generally speaking, they're actually bullish patterns. Yeah, then. So I don't know where this could go down. Could it go down, take the pivot here and bounce back up, and then we get a rally? I can't tell you that. But when I see M's, I don't really get bearish. The only other thing that I can see which could look bearish is a bear flag. There is a little bit of a bear flag forming here. I think everyone can see it. And that's the other thing that makes me think up, because people can see the bear flag. You know, when people can see these ideas, these patterns, people are looking at this and they're going, okay, there's a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, there's a little bit of a bear flag, we're going down, and we could go down. But because it's so obvious, I'm not necessarily thinking down, I'm thinking actually the reverse. The other thing that makes me a little bit more kind of bullish rather than bearish is that the funding rate on Bitcoin is neutral at the moment. Okay, so that's quite interesting to have a neutral funding rate on Bitcoin. Let me have a look at it again. Yeah, it's neutral, 0.100%. Is it the same on ETH? Yep, ETH is neutral. So the funding rates are quite neutral on those two big ones. Let me have a look at a few altcoins. See, DOT is not neutral. DOT is actually slightly bearish. And my beloved Slurf is getting back down to neutral. It's at 0.265%. It's almost slightly bearish, very slightly bearish. But it looks like on Slurf that a lot of the leverage has been cleared. Most of the leverage has been cleared. It's not there yet, but it's almost there. So I'm not actually feeling bearish at the moment. And I think the thing about the price action is, why haven't the bears succeeded in taking the price down? That's my question. You have a really powerful Red bearish candle there, daily candle. Why have the bears not managed to take the price down? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking to myself, where are the bears? Why have they failed? We should be trading, right? We should be trading now. We should at least be yeah, we should be down here by now, no? That's what I'm thinking. You see the volume on the today's price action is almost halfway of yesterday, and we haven't moved anywhere. We haven't gone anywhere. Yeah. So I'm kind of getting the idea that the bears there's no real follow through on the bearish behavior. And you can actually see here there is a daily level, which is what I was saying. I was saying there was a support level that seems to be holding. It's a traded through, it's a washed level, but it's the top of this daily candle here. Okay. It looks like right now that we're holding support. Anything could change. Yeah, anything could change. Look at that. That's a daily level. You see that? So it looks like we're holding support at the moment. We're testing support effectively. We're just testing support. Eventually, support will hold. Eventually, support will hold, or support will fail. Okay. What if support fails? You know, you're going to get a back test of the support. You know, and you're going to get some kind of price action behavior like this. You know, you're going to get a failure. You'll get the liquidity of these lows taken. There will be no SFP, and then it might not be like this. Actually, it might be more aggressive, but you're not going to get an SFP, a swing failure of these lows if support fails. But right now, when I'm looking at the price action, it looks like support's still holding. And as long as support holds, I'm not going to get bearish, because this is a really good place to long. This is a really good place to accumulate. That's having a bit of an adverse effect on the altcoins. Okay. And when I look at the different altcoins, I see that they're bleeding a little bit. Okay. Look at Slurf. You see Slurf just made a low here, unfortunately. That's not good, but this is all Bitcoin. This is what I was saying. This is all to do with Bitcoin. As long as Bitcoin is where it is, altcoins are going to struggle a little bit. Okay, now it doesn't mean anything. It just means we're just waiting for Bitcoin. That's what's happening right now. That being said, I do have a bearish pattern that could play out as well. And the bearish pattern is actually a bullish pattern. It's not a bearish pattern at all. It's a bullish pattern. But effectively, that's your bullish pattern. And the problem with this pattern is you're going to get a drop, pullback, and another drop. It's going to be a long ABC all the way down, potentially to the 17th of April. So that's another week of indecision, basically down, up, down. If support fails here. Right, so I was talking about this idea last night in my stream. I'm still not bearish. Yeah, we've lost the original trend line, but I can see that there's a clone. I can see that there's a cloned line here, which is holding. And I can see also that we haven't lost this daily level. The other thing that I can see is that there's a golden pocket on the local time frame, which is also acting as support. You see that? So zoom out a bit. So initially I thought that we should go down, take the liquidity, either go down or go up. And actually, you know, Bitcoin doesn't do what you think. Sometimes it does what it wants. And so we didn't go down. to take the liquidity. What I was thinking is retake these lows. We didn't do that. And so instead, we went up, up, and we just keep on making higher lows, back testing this golden pocket. I don't think that's bearish, actually. I really don't think that's bearish. I think that's normal. I mean, the bears are failing. It's what it looks like to me. The bears are failing. They're selling, but the price isn't going down. And we just have to see what happens, okay? As long as we're holding this support level, this horizontal support level, this daily level, I'm going to feel safe, and I'm going to still stay in my long positions without taking shorts. Now, the short that I'm in is in a slurf short, long, sorry. I'm not in a short, I'm long. I'm not really in a BTC long, because what I can see is that the altcoins are following Bitcoin. For the sake of consistency, I'm just going to do a volume update as well to see if there's any changes in the volume. Let me hide that now. Value area high is a little bit lower. Point of control is kind of still the same place. No real changes in the way the volume is being put into this range. You can see that we're struggling to get back into the higher volume range. You see that? We'll be struggling. That's what really needs to happen. So when people are contemplating strength now, it isn't the all-time high, this previous all-time high level. It's the local value area low, this red line. This local value area is from this price action up here. There probably is another value area in this higher, in this more recent range. So let me just update that as well. Let's do it to there to there. And actually what you can see is that the point of control of this local range here lies on the local value area low of the previous range. And actually the value area low is sitting nicely on the daily level. So when you consider horizontal ranges, we're fine. We're just at the bottom of the range. We're comfortably sitting on support. Now, we don't want to be here too long. That's the other thing you have to bear in mind. Like, the longer we are here, the harder it is going to be for the bulls to get back up. Yeah, I think we have to put in enough volume here to exhaust the bears and then push up. Okay, that's the other thing you have to bear in mind. So we can't be here too long. We're going to have to go up sooner rather than later and flip that level into support. That has to happen today, really. Sometime today. That has to happen, or we're going to lose this value area low, which is also the daily level. And then we'll flip that into resistance. Yeah. That's basically the two options here. The other option, as always, is a fake out, a swing failure of this pivot here. That would look like this. And also a swing failure of these highs here. That would just look like that. And we just continue to range. Continuing to range is not a problem, but ideally what we want to do is we want to get back above this local value area low. That would be, in my mind, bullish, a bullish reversal. That would look quite good. And that then you'd start seeing the alts start pumping again. But at the moment, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing that the golden pocket is acting as support. I'm seeing that we're holding the daily level, which is also this local range value area low. We're underneath this previous range local value area low, which is also this current range point of control. So we're kind of stuck a little bit, and we need Bitcoin to move up. That's what we need. We need the bulls to step it up a bit. and get involved. So this is where we're at now. As I said, that's having a little bit of a negative effect on altcoins. So my altcoin of choice is TRVL. Let's have a look at it quickly. They're just bleeding on the back of Bitcoin. Effectively, that's what's happened. They had a little pump and now they gave back most of their gains. We're back into kind of support levels. When you look at an altcoin like TRVL, there was a bump and run pattern in play. Still in play. We still haven't lost this this low here. So as long as we hold the low, we don't lose it. You know, you could continue the run. Yeah, it's this whole down move. All these red candles is extremely bullish if we start moving up, because no resistance has been created apart from maybe this one green candle here. No resistance has been created on the way down. So as the price moves up, it will go up very fast. All that is required is for Bitcoin to find strength. Literally, that's all that's required for the price to move right back up. It's not my favored price action. I don't like it at all. I don't like it because I'm not trading it. And there's not enough volume for me to trade it. Therefore, I don't like it. But if anyone is a small volume, small position trader, they could make a lot of money in these moves because there's quite big swings. 18% from high to low, from low to high. It's another 22%. It's quite easy to accumulate if you're a low volume trader in these low volume altcoins. If you look at how the price moves, I hate it, really. Honestly, I hate this kind of price action. I don't think it's crazy. It's not amazingly healthy because it just shows illiquidity. And I think we need to get to higher prices to get out of this kind of price action. Okay, but nothing's really changed as far as the overall picture of most altcoins, and I don't think TRVL is an exception. You're looking at the previous 4 weeks as bearish weeks, potentially a bearish week this week, potentially, we don't know. It could be a doji or it could end green. I do like that we've gone to the top of the previous week with a wick and we push back down. That, for me, that's quite bullish. As long as we don't go lower. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want this candle on the weekly time frame to end down here. Okay, that would look really bad. Actually, that would look extremely bearish, and it would be. Okay, that would happen if Bitcoin pulled back significantly. If suddenly you saw a crash in Bitcoin, you're going to get this really bearish formation of candles here. It'd be pretty. It wouldn't look good because you'd also be losing this idea of this cup and hand, this Adam and Eve idea. Maybe we'd be going back into support one more time. I don't know. You'd be losing the Adam and Eve idea. We'd be forming a new idea, which would probably be some kind of inverse head and shoulders. It's not my favorite price actions. I think I would like for us to go up and continue this Adam and Eve idea. I think that's extremely bullish. Okay. But as long as we kind of this week we kind of hold in these areas, an inverse hammer for all intents purposes is not a bad candle to have, a red one. Bears are in control and bears have failed. I don't think it's bad. I don't want it to be red, actually. I want us to be green. I want us to be right back at the top, pushing the highs again, you know, but you have to take it as it comes. You can't, you know, no one can make this happen. This is just the markets behaving the way they do. And it's very clear. You can see here, I've got here the gate launch price, basically 9 cents, is still acting as resistance. On the weekly time frame, what I'm seeing on TRVL is consolidation underneath resistance. That's bullish consolidation. That's what it is. It's bullish consolidation underneath resistance. We're consolidating underneath 9 cents. Yeah, it's quite a large range of consolidation. 20% down, 25% up, and we've been doing that consistently for the last 5 weeks. It's almost like this kind of price action here. If you look at the price action here, very similar, isn't it? Very similar. We were consolidating for many weeks before eventually we broke up above this this high volume node, which also was acting as an SR flip. Yeah, remember that? I think we experienced the same. The only problem is that whereas before Bitcoin was nicely rallying and going up, so there's a lot of bullish sentiment, now where Bitcoin is in the highs and it's teetering on the potential, the possibility of coming back down. I think that's the biggest problem, right, that we're experiencing right now. If Bitcoin could find strength, I think then everyone would sleep better at night, including me, because I'm telling everyone it's bullish. And it is, but you know, of course I want the price to go up. I don't want the price to come back down. I want the price to go up. Not because of me, because I think the price will go up anyway. Like, I could walk away from the screen, not look at the screen, come back in 9 months, 10 months time. The markets will do what they do, and Bitcoin will do what it does, and TRVL is probably trading above the all-time high. Yeah, but you know, when you're looking at the charts and you're analyzing the charts, you know, you're bullish, you want the price to go up. You can see there's a little bit of value going back into Bitcoin. This is because Bitcoin is trying to hold support. So what usually happens in that situation is that the alts kind of rally around Bitcoin to keep Bitcoin strong. And then once Bitcoin finds strength, then the value goes back into Bitcoin, back into the alts. So what we're experiencing now is something similar, where it's to and fro. And what you're seeing is that each time Bitcoin finds a little bit of weakness, the value goes back into Bitcoin. When Bitcoin finds strength, the value goes back into the altcoins. Yeah. If you're looking at the overall pattern of the movement of the price action, you can see clearly that we're taking steps up. You know, we're taking, we need to, with TRVL, eventually what we need to do is take another step up, move to the next level. And I think we'll probably end up, we'll be doing this until we finally can flip the value area high into support. And maybe then we'll have a chance to go up. Maybe then we'll have a chance to go up. It'll be very easy to go up if we can manage to flip the VAH as support. Why? Because I can see that there isn't really much resistance created on the way down when the price went up and down like that. Yeah. So I think for all of the TRVL bulls, that's going to be our target. I don't know when it's going to happen. I've just made this up. Honestly, I have no idea how it's going to play out. If you continue the pattern, this is how it's going to play out. If you see how the pattern is forming, there's a pattern forming. You see that? See that? And you see that? It's kind of forming like that, and you're basically going up like that. Okay? Some kind of messy channel. When I'm having a look at Slurf, so I've been focusing a lot on Slurf over the last few weeks. Why? Because it's fun. You got to have fun in what you do, right? It's all about having fun. Yeah. And I think it's quite fun to just this shit coin, this meme coin, Slurf, where the devs burnt by accident. They burnt the LP, the liquidity pool, $10 million worth of Solana or Slurf, whatever it was burnt by accident. It's quite funny. And naturally, there's a lot of interest in this token because it's suddenly got the largest amount of volume in the first 24 hours of trading than all of ETH ever did across all of the DEXs, across all the decentralized exchanges. I think it's quite a feat, to be honest with you. I'm quite impressed by that, and therefore I'm very interested. Yeah. Everyone has their own kind of poison. This is my poison for the time being. I'm bullish on TRVL for the fundamentals of TRVL and the way TRVL has and Dtravel has impacted my real world business. Yeah, I'm an advocate for Dtravel because of I've seen the impact of Dtravel on my real world business. I'm interested in Slurf because it's fun. It's funny. I think Slurf is funny. Yeah. And I know from my experience in the past that these brand new tokens launched during a Bitcoin corrective phase are the most bullish tokens. The most bullish tokens are the new tokens, which are launched in the Bitcoin corrective phase, which this was. Yeah. And the reason why is because instead of going up, it goes down. Yeah. But eventually in the future, when the price does go up, we're in price discovery. That's the beautiful thing about these new tokens. It's not going to take that much effort to get this token into price discovery. 250% in the scale of things is nothing. And once you're in price discovery, that's when the FOMO begins. That's when you start getting backtest the all-time high, and you're running to the moon. Basically, you're just going like, it would just go crazy. Okay, I know that's going to happen. Yeah, it's just a matter of being patient. For most people, I think the safest strategy is to accumulate on spot. Look, we're at the lows. You can see. Now that doesn't mean that this doesn't go lower. Okay, and I've said in the past that I don't want to see the all-time low taken out. Okay, and that's gonna largely have to do with Bitcoin. I don't think there's enough interest in this token to hold the lows. It's not that kind of token. Yeah, it's not like there's no like usage for this token. It's pointless. It's fun. So you're not going to get people defending the lows. You don't have like a core group of developers hoping or wanting the token to make higher lows. This is just a natural progression of the market. What you're seeing is nature. It's human nature. It's human behavior. Okay, and as you can see with the price action, when this token launched, everyone was like bullish because of what happened. We had this kind of corrective phase. People got burnt. People were able to exit. And then we had a big sell-off because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin pretty much destroyed the bullishness of this token. And it also went to punish everyone who was long. Effectively, what was happening, just from a market perspective, is that when this price went up, you created volume gaps. Yeah, here, all the way down to here, really. You created these volume gaps, and the market doesn't like gaps. And what the price does, if there's not enough bullish continued demand, the price will always try to go back down to fill the gaps. Yeah, that's what happened, really. Like the price is just going down to fill the gaps, and now that it's filling the gaps, or it's filled the gaps, it's trying to find support, right? And that's largely to do with Bitcoin. Once the price finds support, it'll go up. Why will it go up? Because guess what? In the same way that as the price went up, it created gaps. As the price has come down, it's probably created gaps. Now, I can't see many gaps, to be honest with you. Actually, I can. I can see gaps. Hold on. Let me go to the daily time frame. There's a gap here. There's a big gap here. It's like gaps. That's just on a daily time frame. If you look at all of the time frames, you could probably find a whole bunch of gaps. Like this is easy to see, but I think as you zoom in, you could probably see a lot of gaps. I mean, it doesn't look like there are, but there are. Okay, there's probably a crap load of, there's probably gaps there. See a gap there. See a little bit of a gap there. There's probably a lot of gaps, a lot of volume gaps in this downward move. So in the same way that we've created gaps going up, we've created gaps going down, and eventually the price is going to go, wait a minute, I don't like all these gaps, and the gaps are going to be filled, and that will be to the upside. The other thing is that there's a lot of shorts in this downward move, and one at some point in the future the exchanges are going to go, hey, wait a minute, let's destroy the shorts now. It's time to, we've destroyed all the longs. Now let's destroy the shorts. Let's punish the shorts. We're waiting for that glorious moment where we get a big short squeeze. So as you can see, the price is kind of teetering at the lows. I had this harmonic planned out for yesterday. I took the trade. I'm in the trade. I'm actually slightly underwater at the moment, which is fine because I have quite a wide, with this one I've got quite a wide invalidation because we're at the lows. I'm not crazy with my tight invalidation now because I know we're at the lows. We're at the lows, and whatever happens, I know this isn't the end. Yeah, I'm not like, I don't want to get destroyed by the exchange trying to liquidate me because they know exactly where I'm about to get invalidated. That's what will happen if I start tightening my invalidation. The exchange bots will be going, oh, I can see this guy has his invalidation pretty close. Let's just go and invalidate him. Let's just go and liquidate that person. That's what happens. So you have to be quite careful with how you get invalidated. Now, I'm not fond of this, to be honest with you, because my harmonic was this. And I base my harmonic on fib time, and I think what we're experiencing now is just Bitcoin. Literally, this is just Bitcoin. I'm not going to pay too much attention until Bitcoin finds its feet. Let's just quickly have a look at Bitcoin. Why is it dropping? I mean, I don't know why it's dropping because Bitcoin is still okay. Huh? Looks fine to me. People are panicking. Oh, it's because of HTX. See, that's the other problem. You've got people in HTX selling off at spot, and that's having an impact on the perps. Yeah, so this is now made a lower low here, which is unfortunate because that kind of invalidates the harmonic. It actually does. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'd still like this harmonic. I'm just wondering if that was just because of HTX. I don't know. It's a good entry though, because if you get a swing failure, that's a swing failure there. You can enter a long right there, potentially. There's not much of a reaction though. That's the problem. It's hard because you're not getting much of a reaction. Anyway, I did take that long. I'm still in that long. I'm not going to just exit willy-nilly. But I'll have to see what happens with Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin is holding support. Now, the question for me, the next question is, well, if this harmonic doesn't play out, and the reason why I was interested in this harmonic was because of the time, the fib time. So from there to there to there, you see it kind of came in perfectly last night. This is the 2-hour time frame. It's between 3 and 5 a.m. On the 1-hour time frame, it comes in at about 4 or 5 a.m. Yeah. When you have these harmonics, you're not meant to go back down and take the D. Once you make the D, you're not meant to go back down and take the D. So I'm not quite sure about that. I don't really have an answer at the moment. And I am wondering if it's because of HTX pushing the market down. The other thing that I can tell you about HTX, which is really interesting, is that we're at the value area low. So let me just pull a volume pull on HTX to see what the volume profile is like on HTX. See if there's any updates. I'll zoom in the time frame a little bit just to get more accurate information. Yeah, look at that. At the value area low. You don't. It's the best place to buy, really. Literally the best place to buy. Value area low. It's not a good place to sell. It's like selling the all-time high. In the same way, the best place to sell would have been the value area high, wherever that was here. Up here. Actually, I can move that down a little bit because it's moved down a little bit. So I think on HTX is at the moment pushing the market down. You're getting a lot of spot sellers selling. Let me have a look at Radium. Yeah, Radium as well. A lot of people just panic selling. That's what I'm seeing, a little bit of panic. It's really weird because people are panicking, but it's literally the best place to buy, not a good place to sell. Can't answer that behavior. And what you have to think to yourself is you have to buy the fear, you have to buy the blood, you have to buy the fear and sell the greed, and don't get caught up in your own fear or your own uncertainty. And I can see on Radium a slightly different volume profile, and that's possibly why we haven't pumped yet, because the exchanges are slightly divergent in the way they're putting in volume. I think what could happen the next time we come up to the value area low, you can see that there's a little bit of volume increase here in the value area low. The next time we come up to the value area low, we could probably put in enough volume and start moving the value area to the lower part of this chart. That's already happened on HTX. And actually on HTX, you see there's a lot of volume being put in here at about 38 cents. So I usually mark that off with a high volume node icon just to keep a track of that. And now I going back to Bybit. Yeah. So we clear the liquidity from this low here. It's a good entry, really. And buy some now. Not a bad entry. I'm already in a position, so I don't want to kind of overdo my position, to be honest with you, but I'm using a cross margin account. It's a really good place to buy. So I do think it's a swing failure of the low there. It's fine. I don't know if this harmonic is invalidated yet, because I know that the price going down was because of HTX. But I mean, technically it is invalidated. That's not correct. It should be there. You could argue that maybe on the daily time frame that it's correct. Let me have a look at the daily time frame. No, you can't even see it on the daily time frame. So no. I think what I want to see now is a bullish reaction, and I think this is really important. If we don't see a bullish reaction now, then I'll be looking to, the next time it goes up, I'll be looking to scale my position down or close my position and wait for possibly taking out this low, because I think losing this D pivot is not, I'm not a fan of that idea. And then the other thing that I have in mind could be the shark idea here. I'm not fond of that because it looks a little bit, it doesn't look correct for a shark. But that's the only other thing that it could be, a shark. And that would be down here somewhere. I'm taking out this low. I'm not a fan of that because this really needs to be like this somewhere. And then the other thing, let me have a look at HTX again. Yeah. See, HTX has gone into the value area low and it's swing failure these previous this pivot here. What is a swing failure? Well, a swing failure is where people who are leveraged or even on spot, they'll have their stop losses underneath this pivot. So if anyone was long and in this range, they might have put their stop loss here. And then when the price comes down underneath that pivot, as you can see, all of these longs are stopped out. So they end up selling at market. So you suddenly get like market selling at the lows here. Okay, market selling. And once you, if the price doesn't go down and it goes back up, it means all of that market selling in the whole of this range, all of that market selling, all of these longs who are market selling, price still goes up. So after all of those sellers, the price still goes up. That tells you something. It tells you that that's the sellers are run dry. Basically, there's no more, like the selling is not taking the price down anymore. The selling is exhausted. That's what a swing failure is. It's an exhaustion of selling. Okay, that's what I'm seeing right now, an exhaustion of selling. And I've got this indicator here, and it's telling me, look, this. Do you see this white line? It's telling me that the sellers are exhausted on that time frame, which is the 15-minute time frame. See, it tells you that this is the level where there's an exhaustion of sellers. And for someone who's looking to buy, it's a good place to buy. You want to buy when there's no more sellers. Yeah, where the sellers are exhausted. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean the price can't go down. It's just a good place to buy. This was a good place to buy here. See, the price came back down. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean the price can't continue going down. It's just a good place to buy. It's a place where you're getting an exhaustion. But when you see a swing failure, like here, we didn't really see a swing failure. When you look at this pivot here, we didn't see a swing failure. It just went through. Whereas now, this is a little bit of a swing failure pattern forming into an area of interest, which is the all-time, not the all-time low, the value area low on HTX. Yeah. So I do think it's a really good place to buy. We're seeing a swing failure here on HTX as well. Now, people might ask me, why am I using HTX and not radium? Okay. The answer is very easy. Okay, I'll show you why. If you go to CoinMarketCap, and have a look at the markets, you can, for yourselves, you can go and have a look. If you look at the volume over the last 24 hours, you can see that on the spot market, you see that's a spot, HTX is putting in the most volume. You see that? $41 million worth of volume over the last 24 hours. And if you compare that to Radium or to Gate or to the others, you can clearly see that HTX is leading with 47% in spot volume. If you go to Perpetual, which is the leveraged markets, you can see that Bybit is putting in $22 million worth of volume over the last 24 hours, and that's about 40% of the perps. And so therefore, I'm using Bybit and I'm using HTX to chart. I'm not too, just as a matter of reference, sometimes I will have a look at Radium just because that's where it launched. Okay. But I'm not really too bothered about Radium. Honestly, I'm not too bothered because they're not really moving the market. The highest volume is where the market has moved. Yeah, where the volume is. So at the moment it's HTX, and I think actually it's a fight between Bybit and HTX at the moment. That's what I think, and so that's why I'm charting on those two. I think the reason why we just made a low is because of HTX, not because of Bybit, because I can clearly see that Bybit was lagging, wasn't really making a low. You see these candles here, 1 2 3 candles, it wasn't really making a low, whereas I can clearly see HTX, they were making a low. So HTX was pushing the price down. So I am still inclined to think that my harmonics in play, but I mean, I can't technically, my harmonics being invalidated. Okay, just want to make that clear. I'm not closing my position yet, and I still think I'm still bullish. Crazy, isn't it? It's weird, but I'm bullish because we're at the low. We're at the volume value area low. We're at the best place to buy this token. And I'm also bullish because Bitcoin is holding support. Yeah, Bitcoin is holding support. Look, this is Bitcoin. I told you it's holding support. Look, golden pocket, it's holding support. So as long as Bitcoin holds support, there's no reason to be bearish on altcoins. And it's a really good opportunity to pick up Slurf at an amazing price. Now, I'm not advocating for people to go balls deep in high leverage just yet. There's a really amazing place to pick up spot, and if people haven't got the capital to go into spot, that's understandable. What I sometimes do is I will sell other tokens to buy tokens of interest at the best places. Yeah, because even though other tokens might be low, I know this is the perfect entry. So sometimes even if you're willing to, I'm sometimes willing to take a slight loss on a position elsewhere if I want to move funds around. But obviously the best strategy for most people is to have some dry powder on the side to pick up tokens when they do this, when they behave in a certain way like this. What? If Bitcoin holds, we're going to the moon. It's really that simple. Yeah, it's really that simple. I still think this pattern is in play. I don't want to see this low token, to be honest with you. I think if this low gets taken, it might be a good liquidity flush. We might see a little rally, but I'm not going to be as bullish as I was, just simply because I think a higher low is extremely bullish. If this low is defended by the bulls, and effectively, I mean, it isn't like a game of bulls versus bears, even though we can make it out to be a game. What it really is about supply and demand. Yeah, if you make a higher low, it means there's so much demand at this level that the price just can't get to make a new low. That's what it means. And so we're still in a situation where we have more demand than supply. When you get a new low, it just means there wasn't enough demand and the price fell to make a new low. And I don't really want to see a new low here. I think that will change my bias slightly, not on the macro, but on the medium term, because I am also thinking to myself, there is still a bump and run pattern in play. And I think for me, the condition of this bump and run pattern is that we don't take out this low here. If we don't take out that low, this bump and run pattern is perfectly still in play. The price is just coming back to find support, and whether it's the formation or the completion of this harmonic, or it's just some kind of horizontal support line. The value area low on HTX, no one can really pinpoint exactly the why the price turns. But if we make a higher low here and we don't take out that low, then I think we could run really aggressively to the upside. It'll be quite an aggressive push to the upside. Okay, so that's kind of my sentiments at the moment. I mean, I'm still in a position. I just added to my position on that swing failure. I could have waited. It's not a big deal, because when you're trading, you can go slightly underwater when you're trying to get a good position. You don't go full position. You always scale in. You always ladder in anyway. You should never just go all in and think that this is it. It's always better to scale in, so if the price comes down, you're getting a better position. You just have to be very clear about the invalidation. Okay, now if the price does go down, you might not necessarily be invalidated according to your market stop loss, but if the price then bounces back, don't fall into the trap that you're not invalidated. You have to be mentally invalidated, which means that when the price comes back up, where you're in a position to walk away from the trade without a loss, then you take that exit and then you reevaluate the trade. Yeah, so sometimes if you're not if you have a slightly wider stop, which is very viable, like, because we're so close to the all-time high, people might have a slightly wider stop in this situation because they don't want to be just wrecked by market makers trying to liquidate people, which is happening all the time. But when you do get invalidated, because for some reason this does make a lower low here, I don't want to see that. Then when the price does come back up, I'm not going to fall into the trap and hope for the moon. I'm going to exit my position as close to zero as possible and reevaluate my trade and look for a new trade, a brand new trade. I won't just, because that would have been a failed trade. Okay, you always have to think like that. It's very important. All right, so any questions on Slurf? Otherwise I'm going to move on. I think everything that we're experiencing now is Bitcoin, honestly. I think there's no question about it. Bitcoin is what's causing people to sell and to panic. And we just have to wait for Bitcoin to come out of this little area where it's kind of got stuck. And ideally what we need the price of Bitcoin to go up and flip this local val into support like this without swing fail, and squeeze all these shorts. And if you can see on Bitcoin, there's a shitload of gaps created here. There's gaps here all the way through to here. There's a gap. So if we do finally get above here, the chances are very high that will squeeze up all the way up to there, and maybe all the way up to there. Good morning, Bohai. We just have to flip this local val into support and not lose this lower support line, this daily level. At the moment, you can see the golden pocket on this local price range is offering support, and that's kind of what you want to see. As long as you see that, I'm going to remain calmly bullish and not react to the price. I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people are reacting, and that's why they're selling their alts. They're like preempting the future. You just can't preempt the future. You have to react. You have to wait for the reaction. See what the reaction is saying. Like, look on this on Slurf. That's a good reaction. That's a swing failure. I don't know what you want to see. Clear the liquidity. Oh, you're awake in Cali. Oh my God, Cali. It's what time is it in Cali now? I can tell you. It's probably 2:30 a.m. Is that correct? 2:30. It's either 2:30 or 3:30. I'm close. Which part of Cali are you from? I've been to California a few times. I've been to San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Oakland, Northern California. Love it. It's a lovely place. 4:30 a.m. Okay, not too bad. 4:30. So I was off by a couple of hours. You are up earlier. All right. So let me just. I am bullish on Slurf, but I'm just gonna entertain people. Actually, I don't really want a long stream, but honestly, if you don't want to watch the rest of the stream, just stop. It's not a big deal. I think if we make a new low here, you have to think to yourself, like, because for me, market structure is really important when it comes to price action. Yeah. And at the moment, we're still in bearish market structure. We haven't really turned it yet. It doesn't look like we've turned the market structure yet. Now, you could argue that was a higher high here, but we've made a lower low here. You see that? So we're in a very tricky place right now, because I just wanted this low to hold here. And then I want us to go up and take out these highs. It's a bit of a sell-off, huh? You have a good TA, you should have more viewers, liked and subbed. Well, I appreciate it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just commentating really on the price action, and I'm not always right, you know. And the most important thing about trading is risk management. The most important thing, it's more important than anything when you're trading. I think in the bull market, if you're not trading, I think the easiest strategy is to buy the dips. So to buy the dips, you can't be all in. You have to have dry powder on the side. And so every time it dips, you just buy some more, buy some more. You just scale into the dips over an extended period of time. And I think most people will walk away happy if they have that kind of higher time frame strategy, and also if they kind of distribute their funds across an array of different tokens and coins. I think that's the safest, the easiest strategy. Most people can make a handsome sum on the spot market without worrying about leverage. When you're doing leverage trading, you can make a lot of money, but you can also lose a lot of money. And most of the time when people are using leverage, they have no idea how to use it, which is fine, because it's not easy to use leverage correctly. In the bull market, a lot of people use leverage to make more gains quicker. Yeah. And I think at the early part of the bull market is very doable, but you still need good risk management. Like right now is a really good place to increase the leverage on Slurf. Right now is. Why? Because you have a very tight invalidation. Very tight. Yeah. This swing failure could be the end. This could be the bottom. And that's why that's your risk management. You know, that's your trade. This is it. You have a really small invalidation. And if this is the bottom, it could be. Why not? This could be the bottom right now. That could be it. We don't know. And then if that is the bottom, and imagine if that's the bottom and this goes up in the next year to $30 or $20, you know, then you have to have good risk management, because the question now then is, how much do you risk in that trade? How much are you willing to lose in that trade? Yeah. If we now go down and take another swing failure or low like that, you get invalidated. How much are you willing to lose in this red zone? And that's the question. And usually for most people, the safest and the best strategy is just to risk maybe 0.5% or 1% of their portfolio. But in a bull market, some people will kind of squeeze that, maybe risk a little bit more, maybe 2%, maybe 3%. If they're very confident of their technical analysis, they might risk up to 5% in that red box. But then if that trade works, and if they do catch the bottom like this, then they can make a shitload. Like if this, for example, if you make that trade now, and this for some reason in the next year goes up to 20 bucks, no one knows. I'm just making this up, but let's say it goes up to 20 bucks. That's a 1 to 2,777 risk to reward ratio. You risk $100 there, you can walk away with $277,000 if this price gets up to 20 bucks. Yeah, it's a good trade. CPI, yeah, CPI and FOMC minutes today. I know, yeah, volatility, yeah, probably to the upside. Dan, hope you're good, mate. Thank you. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me again. I want to buy more TRVL. Any advice to set my buy order? So any questions on Slurf? I know I've got like a few viewers here. Apart from Fawi and Dan, everyone's quiet. And then if not, I'll go back to TRVL just to answer Dan's question. It's definitely worth risking $100 here, in my opinion, because this could be the bottom. Yeah, so that's why I've got a slightly wider position, because I think we could be at the bottom. This is what I'm seeing is potentially a bottoming formation. Yeah, and what people can't see is the future. But if Bitcoin finds its feet, this is going to do that, and guess what? We're out of the bottom now, and this would just pump. You make a higher high there, and this is it. That'll be the end of this of this bottom. It's like we're literally at the best place to buy Slurf. So that's why I'm kind of interested in this right now. And because it's a brand new token, if we make price discovery when Bitcoin gets up to its own highs, and once meme coin season comes again, then we could really pump hard on this token. I really think it's possible, simply because I think there's a lot of interest in this token, there's a lot of liquidity in this token, and there's a lot of exposure to this token. And also I think there's the community is pretty off the charts. It's really off the charts. The community is really good. All right, any questions? Otherwise I'm going to have a look at TRVL and answer Dan's question. All right, so Dan, Bitcoin needs to hold support. If Bitcoin holds support, I think most altcoins are going to be good bets right now. Okay, and it's all about Bitcoin right now. So you're asking me where's a good place to buy, and it's really about Bitcoin. Honestly, it's really about Bitcoin. If Bitcoin holds support, I think most altcoins are going to start rallying again. And as you can see in the TRVL, we had this kind of massive sell-off. If Bitcoin finds its feet, this will do that, because we haven't, in this sell-off, we haven't created any kind of significant resistance on the way down. We have a little green candle here. See that green candle? That's your you got a little bit of resistance there. On Gate, there's a lot of gaps. I don't like them because they can potentially form resistance, every one of those gaps. But one thing I can tell you is gaps fill. So actually this is, in some ways it's bearish, but in some ways it's also bullish, because the market doesn't like gaps, and that all of these gaps will fill in this downward. It just shows you that there's quite an illiquid drop, a low volume illiquid drop on Gates. It just tells you that there aren't really many limit buys, and then whoever was selling was a low volume selling, and they were trying to fill their positions and they weren't getting filled, and then the price just slipped down. That's what that means. But to answer your question, let me go to KuCoin. I mean, it's a good level now, to be honest with you. That's what I always say. If Bitcoin holds, it's a really good place to buy. Okay. If Bitcoin doesn't hold, then be patient. I think that's my honest answer to you. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because if Bitcoin doesn't hold, then we could be going further down to test these lows one more time. All right. I don't like it, but it could happen if Bitcoin doesn't hold. And if Bitcoin holds, you don't have to preempt TRVL. You'll see. And so what I've noticed with TRVL, like look, if I look at the 30-minute price action now, you wouldn't buy that. Unfortunately, I wouldn't buy that. But when you see the price do this, you have plenty of opportunity to buy. You get these kind of rounding bottom formations, yeah, where the price stops selling, where people stop selling. I've seen that a lot in the past. Not necessarily there, but you're looking basically for the dip, right? And so we're dipping, and then what you'll start to see is this. And you can wait for that, because all you have to do is just wait for a little kind of rounding bottom. And then even if you don't catch the bottom, it doesn't matter. You can catch it after you get the first kind of injection of value. It's not a big difference from catching the absolute bottom to the first. It's only like 1.5% higher. Once you see that, you can start buying. Yeah, that's what I've noticed on TRVL. And so you don't have to FOMO in. You could just wait. And the same thing happened here. You see, look, you see this kind of rounding bottom I did? There was plenty of opportunity to enter. And then also, even if people didn't enter at the absolute bottom, the first time you get this kind of little bit of an injection, you're not catching the absolute bottom. You're about 5% away from the bottom, but at least you're at the bottom. At least you know now that the price is no longer falling. You see, you have the same kind of idea here, a bit of rounding bottom. So every time I see that the price is flattening, it's bottoming out, I see this kind of rounding pattern. And it's happened quite a lot. You see, it happens there again. A rounding pattern. So that's quite unique on TRVL. And just wait for it, huh? Just wait for that. Does that help? It's very different to when the price is pumping. Yeah, this is only the dips. When the price is pumping, the behavior is slightly different. I'm only looking at this pattern when the price is dipping. So right now you can see that it's not happening. Yeah, you'd be catching a falling knife, and unless, and this is the caveat, unless you're trying to fill a really large position, you would just wait. If you're just trying to continuously scaling and just add a little bit, and you're just waiting for the best time and the best place, just wait for this kind of behavior. If you're a whale, which you probably are, but if someone is out there and they're listening to me and they're a whale and they just want to accumulate a shit ton of TRVL without pushing the price up, then the best strategy is just to have limit orders and scaling. If you're a whale, if you want to buy like 5 million TRVL, this is the best strategy. Just set orders 100 every 4-5%, whatever, 2%, whatever, and just scale in. Okay, it's probably best to go for smaller orders like 10,000 at a time and just scale in. Probably better. And it's always better to limit, because it isn't just about accumulating, it's also about holding the price higher. And the way to hold the price higher is limit orders, because you're absorbing the sellers and you're holding the price higher. That's beneficial for everyone. It's always better to limit in than not to market in, always better. But if you do see this behavior, you're going to have to market in. You have no choice, because the selling has stopped. You see, this basically is telling me that the selling is at an end. And then the other indicator that I do recommend, if you're interested, I don't know if you've got charts, if you're charting at all, but definitely this indicator's, I highly recommend it. With this indicator, you would just use it on its own. It's called LEVELEDC by In Silico. Excuse me. And the settings to use are 310 and 2. Okay. And also show the exhaustion lines. Just all of it. Just copy this basically. Just copy this. And what that will show you on, you can use that without any indicator. Like this indicator you shouldn't use with any other TA. You should just use on its own. Okay, exhaustion level, see that? You wouldn't use any other indicator with this indicator. This indicator you use on its own. And what you'll see on every time frame, it will start printing levels on its own. So here on the daily time frame, I'll show you. So you see back in 13th of January, when it hit there, it started printing this exhaustion line. When the price finally got back to that same level, it offered resistance. It was a good place to sell. I didn't sell. I knew about this. I didn't sell. I'm not trying to get people to sell. And then when it went up, you see, it printed another line. So there's another line up there. This is on the daily. So the higher the time frame, the more significant the levels. To the downside, we had exhaustion levels too. See, we had buy levels. These levels are really good places to buy. Yeah. And often what you find with these levels is that even if the price goes through, when it gets back up, the historic levels, they still play a role. They're still relevant. Yeah. They're still good places to pick up the token. And the higher the time frame, the more effective the role that they play. So you can see here in a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, this historic level, which was basically 9 cents, which, you know, you don't need maths or rocket science to know that 9 cents was an SR flip. You see, it was a good place to sell. They do still react, and every time frame has its own kind of levels, and so the best strategy is to find the time frame that suits you. And obviously, look, I don't think we're going to go down to 2 cents, but you can see here that at about 11.5 cents, there's a 12-hour exhaustion level to the upside. You zoom in a bit, 4-hour time frame, similar level, similar area of interest. Good place to sell. Now, as you zoom in, you can see now on the 1-hour time frame that we're coming to a buy level. Yeah. So that would, like, if you just follow this indicator on its own without looking at anything else, you put an order there at 7 cents or so, that would be a good place to buy, because that is an exhaustion level. Okay, I don't know how the algorithm works. It's based on market exhaustion, market selling, and market buying. So somehow they figure out, whoever's written this program has figured out how to calculate areas where the market selling is exhausted and the market buying is exhausted. All right, and then each time frame has its own kind of levels. If you go to like the 1 minute time frame, you'll see a lot of levels. I think it's a lot more effective on more liquid tokens like Bitcoin, So on the illiquid tokens, it's probably best to stick with the slightly higher time frames, like maybe the 1 hour or above. Right? And look, you can see here on the way up. The other thing about this indicator is quite interesting is when you see the price, when you see a level like that, and you see the price just continuously bashing it, basically it means the price wants to break through. See that? Bashing it, the price wants to break through. Okay, that's the only other thing that I've noticed on this indicator. So it's quite a brainless way of buying and selling. If you're interested, you could just add that, study it, and kind of test it out and let me know how it works. Yeah, but you just have to be careful, because if you do use this indicator, you can't use any other indicator. Don't allow your bias to be affected by anything else. And this indicator is best used with the EMA 365. I think I've got it here. Yeah. But I don't know, it depends on the token. I don't know if it always works. Yeah, you see, like, it's kind of reacting, the 365 on the 4 hour time frame. So we're coming to a good area to buy, actually. Let me see the higher time frames. See that? There was a bit of a reaction here. EMA 365. It's not a bad moving average to use the 365. Just whatever you do, don't use anything else when you use this, because it will mess you up. Just focus on this. Just be kind of a little bit dogmatic and religious about, okay, this is a good place to buy. I'm just going to buy a little bit here. Yeah. And actually, what's interesting is you could probably use that on the Bitcoin chart as well, because you said you were doing Bitcoin as well. Let me have a look. You were trading between Bitcoin and TRVL. Let me just hide these. Get rid of this volume. Yeah, you see, you've got to get rid of everything. You don't let anything bias you. Just have the EMA 365 is a good one, and then there's these exhaustion levels. I mean, look, it wasn't wrong, was it? Like, if anyone bought on these white lines, they'd be pretty happy, huh? It wasn't wrong. And if we sold on that red line when it printed, as soon as it prints, and that becomes your invalidation, actually. So that's the other thing to bear in mind. When you get this line print, the price continues to go up. That's your invalidation. And then if it comes back down, then you're back into the kind of sell mode. Yeah, because if the price wants to go up, it has to flip these lines, these levels, as like kind of like SR flips. They're like easy SR flips. See, look, it does work, huh? I should use them. I've not been trading, to be honest with you. I think I'm gonna, as the price goes up higher, I want to trade TRVL. I'm not going to trade in a low liquid environment. You see, even here, look, this historic line on BTC, look, it worked. Just like a brainless way of trading, buying and selling when the price ping pongs between these levels. And if it depends on like your time frame, if you want to trade more often, then obviously you use a slightly lower time frame, and then you still have to be patient. And then again, sometimes these historic lines do play a role. So maybe you have to create your own strategy based on scaling in and scaling out. Just have a look at it and tell me what you think. Yeah. And then just to remind you, these are the settings: 300, 10, and 2. You can change the colors as well. Like, I think I use the red and white. All right. I hope Bitcoin is mooning. Probably not. That's not what I want. I want Bitcoin to go up. So annoying, huh? What can I say? Probably gonna go to lunch soon. I streamed last night as well. What day is it today? Is it Wednesday or Thursday? I think it's Thursday. Delete that later. What? I think we're holding support, guys. Like, let's not be naive. We're holding the daily level. We're holding the golden pocket. It looks like we're holding support. Where is that? I didn't delete it. Oh, there it is. I think, like, if you clone that line, so you have this trend line, if you just clone it and just bring it down a little bit, you can see that we're still holding it on a cloned outer trend line. So we're on a little bit of, we are holding support. It looks like we're holding support. And the way to know for sure is getting back up there and flipping that into support. This line here. That's how you'll know. It tried once and failed. Tried once and failed. I think third time it will be fine. See, that's like a swing failure. That's like a failed auction. The next time it will be a success. It's like third time lucky. We're making higher lows. Just be careful as well, because is it the FOMC today? FOMC? Yeah, and CPI prints today as well. So who knows what can happen? That could easily, like, usually with the FOMC and the CPI, you're going to get like up, down, liquidate everyone, probably range, probably stay in the same range. And then once that happens, you'll, depending on where you are, if you're still on support, you'll probably go up. If you end up, if after that kind of action, if you end up, like, you can't really tell what will happen. Let's say you go up and down and just end up under resistance, then you'll probably go down. So kind of where you end up is important with the FOMC. It'll usually go and try and liquidate everyone. And then kind of where you end up is kind of, as long as you're on support, then it should go up. And if you get stuck underneath resistance, then it will probably go down. It's kind of the way I look at it. I never really trade it, because I'm kind of more interested in higher time frame levels where there's confluence. That being said, I mean, I'm in a long now on Slurf, you know, and so rather than being a long on Bitcoin, I'm in a long on Slurf. And it's leveraged, lightly leveraged. Just want it to go up, and I can't make it go up. And you see, like, we're at those lines, so I'm quite bullish on that as long as we hold. I think this is all Bitcoin now. Right. I might stream later on today. Just I like to stream, you know, I like to have a look at the charts. I'll look at it anyway, and it's kind of fun when I've got people who are chatting to. So I might come on a bit later. All right, that was good. Thanks for joining me. A lot of people are quiet. Dan, Fafa. Hopefully I'll see you guys later or tomorrow whenever I come back on. All right, take care.